So I've been telling y'all, ZO6s, Corvettes in general, is the sports car of choice. It's the best car you can get for your money. If you're trying to drive fast, if you're trying to go to the track, if you're trying to even tune your car, like, they might not be the absolute most tunable, but they right up there. You feel me? It's not necessarily no Toyota Supra, but they right up there. You feel me? So, and even the C8s, they not as common as the C8, the C6s, stuff like that, when it comes to tuning these cars, but they still great cars, and for the price, you really can't beat it, right? So now these cars are more expensive. Why? Because they have more value, because they're more prestigious? Me personally, I don't think so. Maybe some of them, but most of them, no. But y'all get in the comment section below, let me know, like, if any of these cars are cars that you would purchase over a Z06 today. Because personally, for me, I don't know, but I didn't even see this list yet, so let's get into it. So the Chevy Corvette C8 Z06 is many things. It's loud, it's brash, and above all, it's fast. Very fast. It produces 670 horsepower from a naturally aspirated 5.5 liter flat plane V8 that revs to 8,600 RPM, boasting a 0 to 60 in 2.6 seconds. That's crazy, y'all. Crazy. A quarter mile of 10.5 seconds, and electronically limited top speed of 195. So you know we doing 200 plus, and it's easy. Those figures place it among some of the most exotic cars on the planet, many of which cost two or even three times as much. So mind you, the last video that I talked about, y'all, it was kind of centered around similar to this, right? Because I was mentioning like cars that are not necessarily supercars that can compete with supercars. You feel me? And the Corvette is, you could technically put it in the supercar category, but this is like a supercar competing with exotic cars. You feel me? The Z06. So it's kind of crazy. Like, would you pay, bottom dollar for one of these, or would you pay top dollar for like a Lambo or something? Let me know. So we know what the specs is of this. So let's get into the first car. Acura NSX Type S. I've never been a big fan of this new NSX. I love the old one. I think they had more time to make this better than what it was, and they didn't. But it's still a good car, but I think it could have been better. So this is going for $171,495. That's crazy. A 3.5 liter twin turbo V6 plus 3 electric motors, 600 horsepower, 492 pound-feet of torque, 0 to 60. What we talking? 3 seconds. So that's fast, and that's cool and all, but this is not a very tunable platform, which is kind of crazy because, it's made from Acura, which is, right there with Honda. And in the past, all Hondas, Civics, all of that, it was very tunable engines, you feel me? And now in today's society, you would think Honda would still kind of have some of that, or Acura would also have some of that culture when it comes to just modding and tuning their cars, but this one doesn't really fit in that category. So that's part of the reason why I believe a lot of people haven't purchased it up to this point. It's not a bad looking car, but it's like the amount of cars, the amount of options you have with $171,000 is crazy for you to just say, screw all of those options, let me get this. Unless you just a diehard Acura NSX fan, a new diehard Acura NSX fan, then maybe you do that. But other than that, it really doesn't make no sense to me. So Honda's original NSX was a revelation. It brought supercar looks, mid-engine balance, and Japanese reliability to a market dominated by temperamental Italians. That's a fact. And fun fact, I ain't gonna lie, y'all let me know what y'all think, but I think the Acura NSX, like the original NSX, I feel like that's one of, like, I don't know, that might be like top 5 greatest looking cars of all time for me. I know it's a bold statement. It's definitely my top 10, but it might be in my top 5. I don't know. Y'all let me know what y'all think. The modern yet discontinued NSX, especially in Type S form, continues that legacy with the futuristic twist. It's a hybrid. We were just talking about hybrids. With the MSRP of $171,495, it's closest in price on this list to the Z06, but just short in power. Now, 600 horsepower from a combination of a 3.5 twin turbo V6 and 3 electric motors is nothing to sneeze at. In fact, it's more than enough for a 0 to 60 sprint in just over 3 seconds. But compared to the ZO6, the NSX feels like a science experiment. Precise, quiet, and eerily smooth. What the NSX offers is polish. Its all-wheel drive has torque vectoring and can be driven by your grandmother without drama. It also has more computing power than a small nation, but raw character, that's where the Corvette edges ahead. So I agree. This car is definitely technological, you know, when it comes to this, like everything that went into the development and the creation of this car. It's not that old driver's car anymore. You know, like it's not that Acura that you have a true respect for as far as the classes that it's punching in based on the price that you pay for it, and also based on the reliability that you know is in your back pocket. Like the original NSX, you already knew what that did. It was very reliable. It looked good. It sounded good. It drove good. You know, it was literally a budget-friendly supercar back then. You feel me? Not today. So today with this new NSX, I think it's just a little different. It's not really that. But again, it's still powerful and it's cool. But like they said, it has no character. So without no character, and you asking for those top tier dollars, that top tier price, and then you're competing directly with the ZO6, that's a V8 that sound like a V10. Come on. I mean, I don't know who's going to choose that over that, but maybe unless you just hate Chevy. Number 10, Aston Martin V12 Vantage S. This is different. Y'all know how I feel about them Astons. This different. The price of this is $187,820. 5.9 liter naturally aspirated V12. 565 horsepower. 457 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60, what we talking? 4.4 seconds. So off rip, that's really not that fast. For $187,000, I see it as you're paying for the brand name and the V12. You're not necessarily paying for performance just based on that alone. There's a lot of cars that can do 0 to 60 quicker, you feel me? Including old GTRs. So I don't think that's too impressive. So you've got to hand it to the British. When in doubt, just stuff a V12 into something. Add a hefty 187,820 sticker on the windshield and call it a day. The Aston Martin V12 Vantage S is what happens when you do just that, but then polish it with about 100 years of heritage and impeccable tailoring. It produces 565 horsepower from a 5.9 liter naturally aspirated V12. No turbocharging, no hybrid assistance, just brute mechanical honesty. It sounds like thunder and feels like driving a handmade sculpture. It's also heavier, slower, and less nimble than the ZO6. You feel me? So, to be fair, the price is the only thing that you can really compare with these cars. The ZO6 comparison to the Aston. The Aston, of course, is the luxury grand touring type of car. You jump in when you're rich, you got a lot of money, and you like to take long trips in style. Okay? Nobody usually takes their Aston Martin to the track, especially if we're talking about a Vantage, you feel me? Comparison to a ZO6. They really compete in two different segments, two different categories. So other than price being the factor where they can kind of relate at, everything else I would say is just too far away from each other, where somebody in the market for one of these is not in the market for a Z06. I don't think, personally. Who knows? Maybe I got some rich people in the chat that is different. They're like, nah, I've been looking at both cars. I doubt it, but you never know. But numbers aside, the V12 Vantage is intoxicating. The noise alone is worth the entry fee. It's the kind of car that makes your spine tingle when you fire it up in the morning. The 4.4 second 0 to 60 miles per hour in 12.1 second quarter mile demonstrates that it's not as fast as the Corvette, but you'll be having such a good time rowing the manual gearbox and listening to that V12 that you might not care. So that's big. It being a manual is big. It being a V12 manual is super big. So you got to give it to that for that. It's not going to be the fastest car, but I don't think you would want it to be the fastest car. This is just something that you want to be different, and you want to know nobody else can really have what you got. You feel me? And if they do, they know a few things about the brand for them to actually want to jump into something like this. Because nobody just said, oh, you know, I want a Vantage V12. It doesn't stand out. It's not a common brand. It's not a common car. So you really have to know your cars to be able to say you want one of those and actually be able to purchase it with the amount of money you got to put up for it and say, this is exactly what I wanted, and enjoy it, you know, on a high level. So again, I don't think it's really in the same market as a Z06, but as far as price goes, it's similar. Me personally, you know I love Aston. I'm still going to pick the Z06 just because that's personally how I would like to drive now. Maybe when I get older, that'll probably change. And I would still keep an Aston in my stable when the time is right. But right now, if I had to choose, I'm going with that Z06. But y'all let me know. Number 9, the McLaren GT. This is $219,400. Now, quick, before we even jump into the specs of this, I did see this car kind of like second hand for lower. This is if you do your research on these, they're actually more, I don't even want to use the word affordable, but they're not as expensive as they once were or what they could be. You know, this is McLaren's Grand Tour type of car that would more so compete with that Aston. You can compare this to the Aston, but you can't. I mean, you could compare this to the Z06, but I would say more so to the Aston, but it is definitely more of a driver's car than the Aston, I would say. But the engine is a 4-liter twin-turbo V8, 612 horsepower, 465 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60, what we talking? 2.8 seconds. So that's fast, okay? That's very fast. The McLaren GT priced at approximately $219,400 is McLaren's interpretation of a Grand Tour. See, like I told you. And two, anytime you getting them twos, yo, you spending bread. Blending supercar performance with everyday usability. Its 4-liter twin turbocharged V8 produces 612 horsepower and 465 pound-feet of torque, enabling a 0 to 60 sprint in just 2.8 seconds and a quarter-mile time of 10.7 seconds. While the Corvette C8 ZO6 boasts more horsepower at a lower price point, the McLaren GT offers a more refined approach to performance. Its top speed of 203 miles per hour, that's major, matches that of the Z06, but the GT distinguishes itself with a focus on comfort and practicality, featuring a spacious cargo area and a luxurious interior. Stylistically, the McLaren GT presents a sleek and minimalistic design, emphasizing aerodynamic efficiency and elegance. In contrast, the Z06's aggressive stance and bold lines highlight its track-focused nature. Ultimately, the McLaren GT appeals to those seeking a harmonious blend of speed, comfort, and daily drivability, whereas the Z06 caters to enthusiasts prioritizing raw power and track capabilities. So that's kind of what I was mentioning to y'all before. I kind of feel the same way as well. The McLaren GT, personally, to me, is the better choice over the Aston, even though I love Aston and I think the Aston looks better. If I was in the market for Aston or McLaren GT, I would probably take the GT because, like they said, it's better pretty much in every area than the Aston, other than like having a V12 and just the look of it. You feel me? But as far as performance goes and power goes, it beats it all across the board. So I do think this is definitely a good car. And like I mentioned before, y'all, if y'all check the market on these, they're not as bad as you think. I would say they're cheaper than $219 right now. I could be wrong, but last time I checked, they look better than that, okay? And that's a lot of car for the money, and a lot of people don't have GTs because a lot of people don't go to the brand of McLaren for a Grand Tour car. They go to the brand of McLaren for a race car, you feel me? A 720, you know, a 750, a 600 LT, you know, like they go for those type of cars. The Senna, right? They don't really go for the Grand Tour. So I think it's actually cool that McLaren gave the people an opportunity to have that segment of vehicle within their brand, because usually you would have to go somewhere else for that. So the fact that McLaren actually checks that box now is actually pretty cool. So, you know, you definitely got to give respect to them for that. But would I get that over a Z06? Personally, I mean, of course, I haven't driven neither one of them. Right now, I'm gonna tell you no. Okay, but you never know. If I bought it, maybe it would change. I doubt it though, because like they said, the ZO6 caters to enthusiasts, prioritizing raw power and track capabilities. That's what I'm looking for. Like, I'll get a, luxurious car on the side here if that's what I want. You feel me? I don't necessarily need a super exotic luxury car. It's cool to have, but if I'm spending that type of money, I want my car to be fast and be able to put that power down in the best ways possible. Not saying that the GT can't do it, but I don't know. I feel like the Corvette is just a little better at it. But who knows? I could be wrong. If I drove it, maybe, things could change. Possibly. I doubt it, though. Let's move on, though. Number 8, Lamborghini Huracan Evo. Rear-wheel drive. Very common car, y'all. Very common car. A lot of people have this. Starting price. I don't know why I say Acura and I say Type S here. $214,366. 5.2 liter naturally aspirated V10, 610 horsepower, 413 pound-feet of torque, 0 to 60. What are we talking? 3.1 seconds. So y'all know already, a whole bunch of people got Lamborghinis, and I'm definitely taking this over the McLaren. I would possibly take it over the ZO6 as well, but if I'm trying to save money, absolutely, I'm taking the ZO6. The Lamborghini just does different things, right? And just off rip, let's say you didn't care too much about the performance, which is kind of crazy if you're in the market for a Lambo. But when you pull up in a Lambo, you pull up and conversations start. You pull up and connections appear out of nowhere. You feel me? You end up in a different situation and scenario than wherever you came from, right? When people see that you got that, not only does it scream money, but it screams, I got things in check. I got my priorities in check. And if we potentially work together, I could potentially help you. You could potentially help me. You feel me? So I think Lamborghinis is more than just a fashion statement. It's more of a, let's conduct business together. Because obviously you see, I know what I'm doing. You feel me? So I think off rip alone, if any of y'all got an opportunity to purchase a Lambo, or you ever get an opportunity to purchase a Lambo, I think it would be a great purchase just off of connections alone. Okay? You feel me? Yeah, you're gonna have performance, and this engine is tunable, right? You can tune this V10 and go crazy. It's very expensive to tune, but you could tune it and get crazy power. I mean, GTR speed, right? Or GTR tuning capabilities, and you can make this really into something that's super crazy. But again, even beyond that, you can still pull up anywhere with this car and potentially find a new business partner. You feel me? If you in the right area, and that could be major for you. So I think that's pretty cool. This one's a treat. The Huracan Evo rear-wheel drive is arguably the most fun you could have in a Lamborghini, precisely because it's a rear-wheel drive and slightly less powerful than its all-wheel drive siblings. With 610 horsepower from a glorious 5.2 liter naturally aspirated V10, it's a reminder that drama isn't just about numbers. The Lamborghini shrieks, slides, and dances. It doesn't care if the ZO6 is technically quicker in a straight line or produces slightly more power, beating the Huracan by 0.3 seconds. That's not significant at all. And 60 horsepower. This is about passion. The ZO6 may be faster on paper, but the Huracan will make you feel like a hero every time you get behind the wheel. And it looks like it was designed by someone who really enjoyed using a ruler and a flamethrower. That's funny. So, yeah, I agree. I agree. I would take this over the ZO6. I'll be honest. But if I'm trying to save some bread, I'm jumping in that ZO6. But if I got the money for both, I would choose this just because it would make more sense in the long run. And yeah, more people have these, you feel me? But it just makes more sense, like I mentioned before. So yeah, we're going to keep it moving. All right, number 7, Porsche 911 Turbo S. Love these. Price of this is $230,400. That's very expensive, y'all. It's going to be equipped with a 3.7 liter twin turbo flat 6, 640 horsepower, 590 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60, what we talking? 2.6 seconds. So the Turbo S is I would say a car for all needs. Okay, this is kind of like what they tried to make the McLaren GT into. This is really that. Like, it's really that. It's a great car. It's a super fast car. It always delivers. I would go out on a limb and say it's definitely more reliable than the McLaren, right? It's more predictable than a McLaren. You know what to get when you jump in this car, and it's just an engineering marvel. You feel me? I definitely love this car. I respect this car. This is something that I would purchase. I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, I would probably, I don't know about that. Over the Lambo is kind of tough, but like as far as like a driver standpoint, possibly, maybe, but everything else, I'm taking the Lambo still, but I'm not mad if you gotta put me in a Turbo S, you feel me? 911 Turbo S is one of those cars that makes other cars feel a bit silly. It's ruthless, effective, devastatingly fast, and capable of humiliating supercars and drag races while carrying your groceries in the front trunk. Exactly. With 640 horsepower, it's nearly as powerful as a Z06 and considerably quicker in 0 to 60 testing, thanks to an all-wheel drive and launch control that feels like a NASA program. But where the Z06 is raw and mechanical, the Turbo S is surgical. The Porsche is the sensible choice. It's as comfortable as a luxury saloon and faster than some hypercars. So just like I mentioned, y'all, this is like the perfect blend. The perfect blend of a car that you want. Handle all your needs, still practical. You can daily this all day and then hit the track that same day and still beat cars that's designed for the track. You know, this is like a car that handles all needs. Like personally, if I could have it my way, I'd have both. I'd have a Lambo in this, or I'd have a Corvette in this. But this is probably would be my number one choice on this list. Although, like I mentioned before, the Lambo is still up there. But this car is just, to me personally, if you want to break it all down, I think this is the best car on the list, pound for pound, for what it can do, how it does the things that it can do, and what you get for what you're paying for. It is the most expensive so far, but still, like, it's worth it. I ain't gonna lie. All right, let's move on. Number 6, Maserati MC20. The price for this is $239,000. That's a lot. This came equipped with a 3-liter twin turbo V6, 621 horsepower, 538 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60, what we talking? 3.2 seconds. So off rip, my answer is no. Okay. But I've heard mixed reviews and things about this car, and I'm not the biggest fan of it. It looks decent. It definitely looks decent, but I just don't think Maserati has the funds to compete with any of these previous cars that I just showed you. I don't think it has the funds to compete with those brands at the highest level and really be the better option, right? I personally don't think so. Maserati's been quiet for a while. Then the MC20 arrived and reminded everyone that the Trident still bites. Built around the carbon fiber Manouk. I could sound crazy. I don't know how you pronounce that. Maybe I was right, possibly. I don't know. And powered by a 3-liter twin turbo V6 producing 621 horsepower, the MC20 is sleek, sophisticated, and surprisingly quick. It's also a bit of a unicorn. Unlike the mass market Corvette, the MC20 is rare and exclusive. It's the kind of car you don't see at every Cars and Coffee event, right, like the Lambo. It's also more elegant than shouty, with smooth lines and understated aggression against the Z06. The MC20 trades a bit of speed and noise for style and prestige. It's not necessarily better, but it's certainly different. And that's literally it. That's the moral of the story. It's not better, it's just different. And personally, if I wanted to be different, I could get the NSX. You feel me? I could get the Acura. Like, personally, between these two, I'm getting the Acura NSX over this. Just because it's way cheaper. It's pretty much just as fast. And it's also rare too. I mean, they didn't mention that for the Acura, but the Acura is still very rare. Like, there's not many of those out here. This might be a little more rare, which is fine, but I don't know. It's this car never really jumped off the page with anything that it does. It's decent, but it's not. This is probably so far from everything that we've seen, I will put this at the bottom of the list. I ain't gonna lie to you. But the Acura in this is like really close, but this is way more than the Acura. You feel me? So I'm like, I would definitely choose the Acura over this. But shout out to Maserati for at least attempting to punch in this weight class. I just don't think it's built for it. All right, number 5, the Ferrari Roma. This is a nice car. With a starting price of $243,358, this came equipped with a 3.9 liter twin turbo V8, 612 horsepower, 561 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60, what we talking? 3.1 seconds. So this is different. I like this. Okay, I like this car, and it's a Ferrari. It handles, it performs at a high level. It's very expensive. You always pay that Ferrari price tag, but this one is worth it. But they got more Ferraris on the list. Oh, I don't know on this list, but like more Ferraris that you could potentially get that's better than this. But this is not a bad option by any means. The Ferrari Roma at a starting price of around $243,360 is less of a track weapon and more of a velvet gloved stiletto. It produces 612 horsepower and 561 pound-feet of torque from a 3.9 liter twin turbo V8 and will dispatch 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 3.1 seconds with a quarter mile time of roughly 11 seconds. By comparison, the ZO6 is not only quicker off the mark, but significantly louder about it. Where the Corvette punches you in the chest with its flat plane crank, well and race-ready stance, the Roman prefers to slip past like a well-dressed secret agent. All smooth lines, subtle curbs, and none of the carbon fiber cosplay. It's not meant to beat the Z06. It's meant to make you forget you ever cared about lap times in the first place. Okay. My bad, y'all. My allergies going stupid. I mean, I agree. That's why I said this is not like the Ferrari that I would get if I'm spending this amount of money. This is not the one I'm gonna go for, but it's still a really nice car. It's official. I would still take this over the Mazzi for sure. But when you spending $243,000, you want this car to really be a unicorn. You want this car to handle all your needs easily without no issue, like the Turbo S would do. So yeah, me personally, I'm not getting this over the Z06. And you already know I'm not getting the Maserati over the Z06 either. So yeah, it's nice though. This is a very, very nice car, but I'm taking the Z06 over this for sure. Number 4, Ferrari 488 GTB. See, now we doing a little something. Okay. Price of this, $171,495. Significantly cheaper than the Roma. Significantly. This came equipped with a 3.9 liter twin turbo V8, 661 horsepower, 561 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60, what we talking? 3 seconds. This is a nice car. This is a fast car. It's more of a track-focused car as well. And this is definitely more of a comparable option to the Z06. And it's a Ferrari, so you already know what you expect. You pull up with a Ferrari, you pull up with a Chevy, Corvette. Where people flocking to? Who gonna talk to you? Or who's gonna get talked to more? The person in the Corvette or the Ferrari? Come on, do the math. Ferrari's 488 GTB ushered in the turbo era of Maranello's mid-engine V8s, coming in at around $262,647. Okay, wait a minute. So hold on. So what you talking about? What are you talking about, my guy? So he put initially $171,495, and now he's talking about $262,647. Too significant. That's almost $100,000 difference. Okay, so yeah, that's, I don't know, maybe a typo. I don't know which one it is. Let's see. Let's find out real quick. You know, we do this on the fly, y'all. We do it on the fly. I got you. I'm going to say it's the 262. I ain't going to lie. I'm going to say it's the 262. Pretty sure. Yep. It's close to that. I mean, but I'm seeing 240s, 230s. The older one is closer to that. I see a 16 for 199. But then I see a 2016 for 266. So yeah, so all right. So we know the 262 is definitely the better price, or the more accurate price, which is understandable, and it's still worth it. I ain't mad at it. All right, so the 488 GTB is powered by a 3.9 liter twin turbocharged V8, producing 661 horsepower and 561 pound-feet of torque. It comes tantalizingly close to the ZO6. That's a different word, but still falls short. That gets you to 60 miles per hour in a brisk 3 seconds, and through the quarter mile in about 10.5 seconds. Very nearly neck and neck with the ZO6. But while the Corvette claws its way to those numbers with the naturally aspirated snarl and the subtlety of a jackhammer, the 488 does it with the finesse of a watchmaker in red trousers. It brings with it decades of pedigree, near telepathic handling, and a presence the Corvette can only dream of. Facts, like I mentioned before. The ZO6 might offer more power for less money, but the Ferrari delivers something else entirely. That unmistakable aura of, yes, it's a Ferrari every time you glance back at it at a car park. That's a fact, y'all. I mean, in reality, you can't put a Chevy in a Ferrari's class, okay? Completely two different cars. Now, mind you, that's why I still got respect for the Chevy Corvette, for the Z06, for the ZR1, because it's a car that's punching above its weight class. Like, there's no question about that. There's no doubt about that. That car is not supposed to be mentioned with cars like this. The fact that it is, and it can compete at a high level, especially on the track, says a lot about Chevy and what they've been able to do over these years to really refine their cars and really make a flagship model of what they have. You know, so you got to give Chevy a lot of credit for that. But of course, I think if anybody had an opportunity to jump in a 488 Ferrari, but they also had an opportunity to jump in a Z06, and somebody just said, here, don't worry about money, which one do you want? I think everybody's going to take that Ferrari, honestly. You feel me? But of course, when you throw money in the example, you put money up, you feel me, for that scenario. I mean, yeah, you could save a lot of money jumping in the Z06 and still have relatively the same fun. It's just, you're not going to have that aura. You're not going to have people looking at you like, yo, oh my gosh, you got this. They might look at your Z06 like a regular C8. You feel me? Like, so you do got that going against you. But I mean, yeah, Ferrari's a Ferrari. You know, if money wasn't an issue, I'm definitely jumping in this. But if I'm really trying to be frugal and really just make my dollar count, every dollar count, I probably wouldn't buy this. You feel me? I would probably take a Porsche over this, or possibly take the Lambo over this, maybe a little cheaper, you feel me? But I'm not mad at the Ferrari. The Ferrari's still up there. It's just, you know, it's pricey. You got to pay to play, you feel me? But I ain't mad at it at all. All right, number 3, McLaren 675 LT. We talked about this already. Okay, that's pretty hefty, y'all. Price of this is $349,000. It's King Cooper, the 3.8 liter twin turbo V8, 666 horsepower, 516 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60, what we talking? 2.9 seconds. Off rip, can't do it. Can't do it, y'all. $349,000. Are you serious? I can get I could almost get two Z06s, I believe. I forgot what the price was. I might still be able to get two Z06s for that. That's crazy, because before I even get into any of this, you can't tell me this car is twice as good as the Z06 is in every aspect. I don't think you can do that. You're paying for the name, and you're paying for what they put into it. Now, I know this is a track-focused car. This is going to be crazy. It's going to be a very, very track-oriented car that's really going to be able to put a lot of numbers down. But for $349,000, based on just the options that we mentioned, I'd jump in the Ferrari over this. You feel me? Like, McLaren is nice, but it still don't got a Ferrari aura. You feel me? Even a Lamborghini aura. You feel me? If all three of these cars pulled up, the Rari, the Lambo, and this, people are going to go to that Lambo and that Rari over the McLaren. They'll come to this last and be like, oh, that's pretty nice. That is pretty cool. But, you feel me? For $349,000? Nah, I don't know about that one. Y'all let me know what y'all would do. McLaren 670 LT is a track-focused marvel with a price tag of approximately $349,500. It's a 3.0-liter twin-turbocharged V8 engine, delivers 666 horsepower, propelling the car from 0 to 60 in a brisk 2.9 seconds, and through the quarter mile in about 10.5 seconds. See, like that's not significant. The Porsche could do that. The Turbo S could do that. While the Corvette ZO6 offers more horsepower at a significantly lower price point. And that's super significant. The 675 LT compensates with an obsessive dedication to weight reduction and aerodynamic finesse, resulting in a dry weight of just 2,712 pounds. Its long-tail design not only harks back to McLaren's racing heritage, but also enhances downforce by 40% over the 650S, ensuring that every bit of its power is effectively translated onto the tarmac. In essence, while the ZO6 is a sledgehammer of raw power, the 675 LT is a scalpel of precision engineering, offering a driving experience that's as exhilarating as it is exclusive, which I agree with. I agree wholeheartedly. It makes a lot of sense. A lot of power coming out of this very small, light car. But again, I don't think the person driving this is going to have twice as much fun driving this than a ZO6. I could be wrong because I haven't driven it. But personally, I just can't see you having twice as much fun with a car that's twice the cost of a Z06, which is the 675 LT, and it being that much better than a Z06. I can't see that, but y'all let me know what y'all think. Yeah, with the price tag alone, I'm getting a lot of these cars over this. I ain't gonna lie to you. An honorable mention, number 2, Aston Martin DB12. You know I love my Astons. The price of this is $248,000. It's getting equipped with a 4-liter twin-turbo V8 engine, 671 horsepower, 590 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60, what are we talking? 3.5 seconds. The DB12 at $248,000, about double the price of the Z06. Okay, so yeah, if this is about double the price, then yeah, that McLaren almost triple. Crazy. Nah, yeah, ain't no way, y'all. That McLaren's not 3 times better than the Z06, but whatever. An Aston's new GT flagship, packing 671 horsepower from a Mercedes-AMG Source 4-liter twin-turbo V8. Yes, that's 1 more horsepower than the Z06, but given the weight and purpose of the DB12, will allow it on the list to give you a sense of scale. It's not about speed, really. It's about cruising in silence at triple-digit speeds, surrounded by leather, aluminum, and heritage. It's about getting to Monaco without spilling your drink. The Z06 might beat it around the track, but the DB12 wins the long game. It's built for the refined who want drama without discomfort and are willing to spend the big bucks for it. I agree. But I mean, I know I'm like, I love my Aston Martins. I really do. Let me just check the list and see if there's anything I would get over that for what it's worth. I do like this Roma though. I do like this Roma. No, I love my Porsche. Yeah, I'm not getting that over Huracan. It does compete with this, y'all, like very closely. The McLaren GT. V12 Vantage. Yeah, for the price difference though, that is a big price difference. I ain't gonna lie, I might pick up the V12 Vantage over that. I might do that. But again, it's like when you get this close with the comparisons of cars, you're really not gonna know until you drive them, which I will do one day. Okay, but just we ain't got that under our belt just yet. But yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful car. It's definitely a beautiful car. And for what it's worth, like we expected that. We know Aston Martin is just different. That's what they bring to the table. They not the super track focus oriented cars, but they're good cars all the same. You feel me? And they're rare and they look good. So I'm not mad at no Aston Martin. I'm not mad at no Aston Martin. Hold on 1 second. Alright. So let's move on. Number 1, the LFA, the Lexus LFA. This is a surprising one. Yeah, wait a minute. Before I even look, this is an overpriced car. Off rip. Super overpriced. Now, mind you, it might be one of the best sounding cars that was in production for the public to buy in history, possibly. But price though. Let me see if they honest. Let's see what the price is. Oh no, he capping. He capping. He capping, y'all. I'm about to show y'all something. Let me see. They showing them for sale, but they're not even for sale, y'all. Like I'm being honest with you. Let me see. Is this one for sale? Yo, people really bought these up, y'all. Okay, so look. Hold on, let me see if y'all can see this. All right, look at this. Look at the price, y'all. Do y'all see that price? Stop it. Look at the bid offer and look at the other price. Come on. Come on. The highest offer on that is $850,000. Come on. Stop playing. He talking about $375,000. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. You're not getting no LFA for that. The LFA can't even compete. I don't know why he threw this in there, honestly. He messed up with that one. Because that price is tremendously wrong. Tremendously wrong. But we're still going to go through it. So this came equipped with a 4.8 liter naturally aspirated V10, one of the greatest engines of all time as far as sound goes. 552 horsepower, 354 pound-feet of torque, 0 to 60. What are we talking? 3.6 seconds. It's been a decade since Lexus built the LFA, but it remains one of the most memorable cars of its time. With only 553 horsepower and 354 pound-feet of torque, it's the least powerful car here, which is crazy. Saying 553 is the least powerful car. That's crazy. And yet the most expensive by a long shot, because that price is wrong. Its 0 to 60 mile per hour time is 3.6 seconds and takes 11.6 seconds to reach a quarter mile at 125. But it doesn't matter. The LFA's 4.8 liter V10 revs to 9,000 RPM and sounds like an F1 car. It was developed with no concern for cost and built with aerospace grade materials. It's rare, exotic, and truly special. Against the ZO6, the LFA is slower and far more expensive, but it's also timeless, a legend. Sometimes that's more important than winning a race. But it's also a timeless legend, whatever. But yeah, I mean, I agree. It's legendary, but it shouldn't be in this. It shouldn't even be on this list because that's not fair. You can't really compare. That's like somebody pulling out one of the 4 GTs that won the race that made 4 GT famous in the first place. You feel me? And even the new 4 GTs today are going for $1 million plus. You feel me? So it's like, that's not even, you could buy 5 ZO6s for the price it is pretty much. You feel me? Like, that's not even fair, to be honest with you. That's not even fair. But yeah, the LFA is nice. You feel me? The LFA is nice. Would I buy it? Even if I had the money to do it? Probably not. I would have to have a lot of money because this car is just going to sit and collect dust for the most part. You might pull this out maybe once a month, maybe twice, possibly, you know. I doubt you're going to daily it. Could you daily it? Possibly. I mean, it is a Lexus, you feel me? But it's so rare that I doubt you would really want to do that. You know, you're really going to want to have your money set in this car and, you know, not really lose it with driving it daily. So, but again, if your pockets is crazy and you really don't care about things like that, then possibly. But yeah, I mean, so out of all of these cars, y'all, I mean, I really like the ZO6. I like the Ferrari 488. The Roma is nice, but I wouldn't buy it like I could at the moment, but hey, eventually. Definitely like the Turbo S. This is a car that I will own eventually. I definitely like the Turbo S. The Huracan is a favorite for everybody. I would only purchase it from the standpoint of it being a Lambo, but personally, if I could have it my way, I would still buy the Turbo S, and then I'd probably buy a Aventador over the Huracan. You feel me? Because, I mean, the Huracan is nice and all, but it's like if I'm going the Lambo route, I'd rather go the top of the Lambo route and not like the lower level. You feel me? The doors don't even go up on this. You feel me? I might even cop a Revelto. They sound crazy, but you know what I'm going for. I might cop that over this just because you know, that's the top. That's the top of the cars. You feel me? That's the top of the Lambs. This is not. So, although it's a Lamborghini, a lot of people have it. I'm not too crazy about that, but it is cool. It still gets the job done, and it's still a great car. The McLaren GT, I think this is a sleeper, y'all. This is like one of the biggest sleepers on this list, I feel like, because people don't expect this from McLaren, so they don't even look for it. You feel me? They don't even look for this car. They looking for that 675 LT or that 765, you feel me, or 720. They not really looking for McLaren to come with something like this. But I do believe this car is way better than a lot of people give it credit for, if they give it credit at all, because they probably don't even know about it. So I do like the McLaren GT. The Vantage S, the V12, I just seen one of these the other day too, at the car dealership. Very, very nice car. Very nice car. Like I said, I love my Astons. Always will. Not mad at it. I wouldn't own it just to have it by itself, but I would own an Aston just to have. You feel me? Would I get this over the ZO6? Probably not. But again, the person who's in the market for a V12 Vantage, I don't think is in the same market for a ZO6. Feel me? Two different people, two different needs that they're looking for. And in the NSX, I think this was a disappointment. I ain't gonna lie. I think this car was a disappointment. It's still very, I would say technologically focused. I'm effing up today, y'all. Somebody help me. But I do think it's a smart car pretty much. It's a hybrid. There's a lot of technology that come with this car. It still looks good. I don't even know if I seen this in person, y'all. And if I did, I probably seen it one time. But I don't think I seen it in person. It's still a nice car. And I do believe this car possibly may turn into a classic in the future, possibly. But right now, I just think it's so hard for people to even want to buy it. Like, I think this could have something similar. That's too much. I was gonna say something like the LFA, but nah, because the LFA actually did something significant that was different than any other car. This, I don't think it will be like that, but I still think this will get more love in the future than it will, or than it has been currently. You feel me? Because it's playing in a weight class that it really can't compete with. You feel me? Like, this really can't compete in this weight class right now. I'd get a GTR over this. And the GTR had the same design since 07, 08. You feel me? So I'm like, come on, that's saying something. But yeah. But shout out to Acura for at least, you know, trying. You feel me? We could at least respect that, right? It's honorable. Yeah, y'all get in the comment section below. Let me know what y'all would get out of those lists, or out of that list. And also let me know if you're in the car market as well, potentially trying to get something new. Because like I mentioned before, a lot of people are not buying cars, and there are decent deals for cars, but they just don't make the most sense at this moment in time, especially now after tariffs hit. You feel me? And what sucks is prices are only going to go up. So my advice to y'all, if y'all are in the market to get a car, if you can get it now, it would be better for you instead of waiting a little longer. Because I think at least in this year, if you was planning on getting something this year, if you wait longer, I do think prices will go up. Because I believe once the inventory of these new cars is done, that's when the tax is going to come, and they're going to hit those cars, and they're going to be up probably something similar to when it was like 2021 after the pandemic, which then in return is going to raise the used cars up. And that could be an issue. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it's not too crazy. And, you know, hopefully the car market gets better. Hopefully the economy gets better. You feel me? Because we definitely need more opportunities to not only buy what we want, but to be able to, you know, spend our money and feel like we weren't robbed, you feel me, of everything. You know, so yeah, hopefully everything get better. But that's the video today. You already know, if y'all like this video, make sure you share, make sure you subscribe. Also, if you are looking to mod your car, you're looking to tune your car, I will leave a link for y'all. But I'll chop it up and I'll put it everywhere for y'all to get it. But yeah, if y'all like this video, make sure you share, make sure you subscribe, and just like that, I'm out of here. Peace.